Some producers are able to make music at 2 times, 5 times, 10 times the speed of everybody else.
Ik weet niet hoe die het voor elkaar krijgt. Hij maakt ook altijd gewoon wel eens een plaat in 1 dag of zo. En dan denk ik, hoe kan dat? Want er zit zoveel detail in.
Ik denk dat er 140 tracks uit zijn gekomen in totaal van Noistro. Dus misschien nog wel meer. Dus ik had iedere week wel een track af.
So what exactly is it that enables them to produce faster and more efficiently? That's what we're going to look at in this video. And so I'm going to show you 8 ways that can help you become a more efficient producer. Let's go. The first one is by far the most impactful, and it's about recognizing sounds that work and sounds that don't work. It's about sound selection. If you've ever been in a situation where you spend endless amounts of time trying to fix a sound in a mix, chances are that including that sound in the project is just bad sound selection to begin with. You see, no amount of mixing can make up for bad sound selection. If the sound is foundationally bad, if it's not mono-compatible, for instance, you cannot save it with mixing. And so instead of spending a ton of time trying to save it, just recognize that it's a bad sound to begin with. It's usually a bad sign if you have 10 plugins on the same channel and you're still not happy with the sound. So focusing on good sound selection will make you infinitely more efficient by simply not wasting time on stuff that cannot be fixed. In extension of that, organizing and clearing out your samples and presets are going to be a big time saver in the long run. So what I did many years ago was that I took all my samples, maybe 10,000 individual samples of different categories, and I went through them one by one. I then pulled out and organized the samples that had potential, and I discarded everything else. So sound selection naturally became a part of that process. And in the end, I ended up with maybe 10-15% of the original 10,000 samples. That process took around 2 weeks of semi-intensive work. That's a long time for something that doesn't result in any actual creative output as a producer, right? But look at this. This graph shows the efficiency when looking for samples. And this is what happens when you sit down and organize your sounds. The green curve is spending the time organizing, and the blue is keeping the library as it is. When you spend the time organizing, when you sit down for 2 weeks like I did and do the proper sound selection, you're falling behind. But look what happens over time. You're catching up, and at some point, the time you've spent organizing have paid itself back. And from there, you're only winning in terms of time and efficiency. So if you ask me all the way up here if I'm happy that I organized my library all those years ago, oh, you bet I am. I've won back those 2 weeks many times over at this point. This is a big return on investment for sure. This is also why my preset pack is so well organized. It's a matter of efficiency. Once you know how efficient you can be with proper organization, you're simply not going back. If you notice that you use the same preset in the plugin again and again, save it as a custom preset. There's no point in manually turning knobs to the same position over and over when you can just save it as a custom preset. I have tons of presets saved for my favorite plugins because I have used and I will use them again and again. So if we take Volume Shaper for instance, this preset is for panning stuff left and right. This preset is for making room for the transient of the kick. This preset is for sound designing the transient of the kick. Same thing for inflator. This preset saturates the signal but takes out an equal amount of volume. And for Pro MB, these are different settings that I often use for my buses or my master channel. You can even save presets as the default startup preset so that every time you load a new instance of the plugin, it loads with those exact settings. This is handy for analyzers where you typically use one setting and one setting only. And by the way, if you don't have this preset for separate mid-side view, you can get it as a free download on my website. It's really good. Channel presets are super powerful because they let you save an entire channel strip including all the plugins on it. So if you have a channel strip from a previous project or just a specific channel strip that really works, you can save it and use it across projects. For example, people often use the same bass layers again and again because they've found something that just works. So you go ahead and save the channel strip, and in future projects you can load the exact preset of the synth including the plugins and their settings. It's like copy-pasting from previous projects onto new ones. How it works varies from DAW to DAW. Some DAWs even allow you to save entire chains of channels. So say you have a full lead bus containing layers of the lead and a reverb on send. You can save that and load it into any new project on the fly. Pretty efficient. Templates is another way of cutting out steps in production. With templates, you can already have an early version of the arrangement set up. You can have the basic percussion in place and mixed, so crashes, claps, snares. Everything is already preloaded in the template. You can even set up routing and effects channels like reverb and delay if you already know that you're going to use these specific chains. You can have your favorite lead components preloaded, your favorite low end preloaded. You get the idea. So templates is a legit way of cutting out repetitive steps in production. So look, if you haven't used a plugin for the past 12 months, what makes you think you ever will? Some of you simply have too many plugins at hand. The inefficiency is not so much the time you spend looking for the right one, it's more so the paralysis of choice. It's the fact that you have all of these options and spend time and energy looking for that new plugin that's gonna make all the difference. The reality is that you really only need a handful of plugins for each category, and anything above that is just bloat. If I were to ask you what your favorite plugin was within a category, you would answer within a second. And you do that because you have a history of success with that plugin. So why not just continue to use that? A construction worker is not carrying 2 hammers to work. No, he is carrying his favorite hammer because it's reliable and it works. So de-bloat your effect library and stop wasting time and energy browsing for stuff that you already know is not going to do a better job. Alright, let's talk about small efficiency tweaks you can do inside the DAW. This is different from DAW to DAW, both in terms of what you can do and how you set it up. So these are all the small tweaks and shortcuts you can enable inside the DAW that cuts down on clicks and automates stuff and generally makes life easier for you as a producer. For example, I have created my own categories when loading new plugins. This is 100% custom to me. So I've only included the plugins I actually use and I've categorized them in a way that makes sense to me. This way, I don't waste time looking for plugins and I don't waste time looking at plugins that I won't ever use. Other things you can do, this one is specific for Logic, but every DAW has tweaks like this. If you go to Project Settings, MIDI and Chase, you can activate notes. And what this will do is make the MIDI notes play the content wherever you place the playhead, instead of before where it would only play if you had it at the beginning. Super handy. You want to do this in every project. It's a real time saver. Like I said, every DAW has their own efficiency tweaks and quality of life settings you want to look into. Last but not least, something that can really move the needle is to learn to mix while you are producing. A month ago, I made a video about a mixing approach called Clip to Zero. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend taking a look at it. Because what that approach does is that it promotes mixing while producing. And if you learn how to do that successfully, it will give you a huge efficiency boost. You are literally killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It does take some time getting used to, but most people find that mixing while producing makes so much sense. This is especially true for individual artists who are not relying on mixing and mastering engineers as much. Alright guys, those were 8 ways to become a more efficient producer. If you have any hacks that you want to share, please put them in the comments below so that we can learn collectively from it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.